It is time to get raw. It is time to get down. It is time for the Raw Down, the number one source for all things WWE, right here at the Turnbuckle Tavern. I am your host, Young Anthony of the Independent Epicenter. Joined with me, as always, are my co-hosts, the MVP Marco of the Chick Foley Show, and of course, the OG Fig Kid is here as well. J-Bone has taken the night off. We will see you soon, J-Bone. But I do have this lovely trio. We have this lovely trio here tonight to talk all things WWE. Fellas, how are you doing tonight?
Great.
Well, I am good.
I'm sure you're good, Tom. I'm sure you're doing great right now.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in just a moment.
I'm in Roman Reigns territory, y'all.
Oh, God. You see, it's getting to his head. It's getting to his head. I see that ego. Listen, folks, if you like what you hear on the Turnbuckle Tavern, make sure to like, subscribe, do everything that you need to do. We have a great episode of the Raw Down for you here tonight. We're talking all things Money in the Bank, plus some outside of the ropes news, which we will kick off the show. Logan Paul has officially signed with the WWE. Holy shit, we're going to get into that one. And I think it is time to get into the show. But before all of it, we need to give a little ceremony here.
Yes. Right.
So here we go.
And now, the RAWDOWN presents the crowning ceremony for the RAWDOWN Championship.
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Wow.
There he is.
I think you need to put my face right in there.
Tom is your still reigning, defending,
and still.
He's still the champion.
Down you all. This is unprecedented territory here.
I know you are. All right, I'll give it to you. You are the longest reigning champion so far. What have you gone through? Like to 2-3 pay-per-views now?
This is the third pay-per-view in a row I won.
3. Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know when we're gonna take that title off of you.
It'll be 4.
4. Hopefully it'll be 4. But what we do want to mention for our lovely viewers and listeners, that there was a little bit of a stipulation added to Money in the Bank for our predictions. Well, just listen to me real quick, because this is set in stone, confirmed by the president himself. Tom, of course, you are holding on to your championship. You are, still, unfortunately, our champion. However, there was some predictions that we made off camera to do some tiebreakers, whatever it may be. And one of them was to determine the exact time of the Money in the Bank men's and women's matches, the combined total time. And whoever got the closest time had a little consolation prize, a little incentive. And it was J-Bone who actually got the closest time. And he is officially the first ever Raw Down Money in the Bank holder. So J-Bone is now the Money in the Bank holder. Yeah, it's set in stipulations
after.
No, it was before.
About this. We
didn't
talk about this, sir.
Nobody told me about this.
Oh,
You gave in your time.
He sounds scared. He sounds like a scared.
Yes, I have text from J-Bone. J-Bone never said it's to get a no. You can't just start adding stipulations after.
You can take it up with President Sneed. He is the man that allowed this to happen.
Hogwash.
It could have happened to any one of us.
It could have happened to any one of us.
It's ridiculous. You don't just add stipulations after the fact.
Well, that's what we do here on the Raw Down. There's no rules here. But so whenever J-Bone is back, or whenever he decides to, he is allowed to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and there will be a little bit of a contest for you to actually defend your championship one-on-one with him. What that contest will be might be up to me and Marco to determine. We may have a little bit of a little agreement there, of course, with President Sneed's confirmation.
The fix is in.
The fix. First of all, we would not fix anything for J-Bone, especially me. I would not be fixing anything for him. We are 3 separate entities on this show.
Oh, yeah,
right?
no, yeah.
You guys just don't want me to have the title.
No, we would love you to have the title, but we would love to see you lose the title even more.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
We love you having it, but we want you to lose it. That's
exactly.
God, the fix is in. I need to call Smart Mark Sterling.
You can call whoever you want, but you're going to have to, defend your championship with pride once that Money in the Bank is cashed in. So we'll see when that happens.
I don't think so.
Alas, we have a stacked show for you here today, and we got to get right into it. And that is by starting off with the news that you can find
Outside the ropes.
We've got Outside the Ropes news right here on the Turnbuckle Tavern. So we're going to kick things off with a story that we heard about last week, and I'm sure we were all just dying to talk about here as Marco has left us, but we'll continue on here.
Good. Hopefully
Logan Paul.
It'll just be me.
Hopefully not. Logan Paul is signed to the WWE. So, of course, we all remember Logan Paul was in WrestleMania 38, this past WrestleMania. He did a match with The Miz, tag teaming up with The Miz, defeated Rey and Dominic Mysterio. Had a little bit of a brawl there between them. And we knew that we were going to see more of Logan Paul in the future, probably a match between The Miz and Logan Paul. What we did not expect to see, I'm sure no one was expecting to see, was a
my championship. What are you guys doing? Put me in front of the title.
Listen, you're breaking the kayfabe for the listeners here. Let's leave it at that. But what we didn't expect to see was a multi-year deal for this is a multi-year contract for Logan Paul, and he is apparently going to be sticking around. What this entails as far as how many matches he's doing, what shows he will be partaking in, if he's going to be a Raw or Smackdown super, who knows? But what we know right now is that Logan Paul is signed to WWE, and we've got some opinions. So let's get right into it. Marco, you just joined us once again. Give us your thoughts.
I think he's coming in. Well, he's going to be facing The Miz. So I'm assuming.
But when Miz turned on him, the fans cheered The Miz. So
yeah, that's gonna be rough. But if anyone can make it work, I believe The Miz can do it. Because he can
Is over this way without even trying.
He can flip out. He can make the crowd flip at the drop of a hat. He's a professional heel. He can do it. I think he can get Logan Paul over.
I don't think they're gonna get Logan Paul over. I think he's gonna be booed. He's like one of those, not B celebrities, but one of those reality stars that people just hate. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, his like 100 million or so followers would probably disagree with any, and that's the reason why he was signed. I mean, the following this guy has, and his brother. I mean, the stuff that they've done. I mean, outside of the YouTube stuff, like he got in the ring, he went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, we're forgetting this. I mean,
I completely forgot that happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
did you have to remind me of that?
Yes, I mean he's done some stuff outside of out of what I mean. Obviously, his brother's more into the boxing and fighting and stuff like that. And he Logan's just jumping around doing different things. But I mean, there's a reason why they signed WWE's a business first and foremost. They see the following that he has. Did you see that photo was the most liked photo that they've ever had?
Yep, it surpassed like 1 million. It was definitely the most liked.
Yeah,
which is surprising because
I'll tell you this: I didn't like it.
Oh well, the record means nothing if Tom didn't like it.
Exactly.
I mean, we ridicule the WWE for not pushing young stars and getting new talent, and then when we do get young talent and new stars, we don't like it. So what do we want?
Talent is a very loose word that we're using here for Logan Paul. But look,
young stars, we'll say.
Young stars.
He is a star.
Look, my whole thing is, we're talking about Logan Paul here. Like, I mean, come on now. I'm very confused as to how Logan agreed to a multi-year contract. Is it just the money? Is it the fame and the notoriety that comes with with being a WWE superstar. This just doesn't seem like something that's up his alley. And the fact that he's signed on for, I thought at first that this was, and I'm still kind of having that mentality that this whole contract signing that you saw with Triple H, Stephanie, and obviously Logan, it's more of a publicity stunt. I don't feel like you're going to be seeing like a multi-year, regularly showing up Logan Paul on Raw or SmackDown. I think you'll get like closer to a part-time deal, if anything. He'll do the SummerSlams and he'll do the WrestleManias, which also confuses me because outside of like, facing the Miz, maybe a Baron Corbin, what else is there for Logan Paul to do in the WWE? Does he win a championship? Does he, well, I mean, maybe a 24/7 title, but what is there for him to do?
They could do it. They could put a title on him. Does that obviously not the world championship? We don't want a David Arquette.
Watch it, he'll beat Roman. He'll be the guy to dethrone Roman.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's theory. We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I could see him like kind of like part-time in it, like being at the big events and like this, even Survivor Series, maybe. Who knows what he signed on for? Maybe like there's events in between that they might do. I don't think he's going to be doing house shows.
Yeah, he's going to be running the circuit with Ezekiel.
Oh yeah, probably. He'll probably. I think he'll probably show up on like SmackDown. Get some ratings there.
Yeah,
show up on Raw, get those ratings.
I don't even think you'll get like it's only WrestleMania, it's only SummerSlam. But when there's like a program for him, like he'll be around. He'll be there. Because obviously he did the stuff with Sami Zayn last year. He did the stuff with the Miz this year. So I guess when there's a spot for him, I don't think he's going to be like an ultra serious competitor. So that's why I'm not really like too worried about this signing. Like everyone's like, oh, this is a fucking horrible signing. And of course, like it's stupid. The fact that Logan Paul is a WWE superstar, quote unquote. But I think it's going to be stuff like, doing these segments with the Miz and, doing all this type of stuff that it gives the WWE that type of boost in the popularity and the type of mainstream recognition because Marco, like you said, they're an entertainment, company. They're a business. Yeah. So this is a really smart move for them. This is I mean, all things considered, this is a pretty good move for them. If they were able to snag Logan Paul and if they use him in a way that gets, that recognition, this could be pretty good for them. I'm just nervous from a, more dedicated wrestling fan standpoint. Like, how is he going to blend in? Because I've been waiting to talk about this. If you watch the video of the signing of Logan Paul, this guy starts walking around WWE headquarters and he goes up to all the fucking posters and he goes up to the one with Edge. I think it was the Backlash poster. And he's like, this guy looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. Oh man, this guy looks old. I'm like, you just signed for the WWE and you don't know who Edge is? Please just take the contract away from him in that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
or maybe he's looking to get a match with Edge. You never know. Maybe he's looking. Maybe he's just
that long-term storytelling.
Playing those seeds a little bit. And, Edge comes on TV one day and calls out Logan Paul.
I think that's a little wishful thinking there, but
talking about WWE here.
True.
We will be talking about Edge, a name you'll hear later on in the show, so stick with us. But I mean, anything else on Logan? How about this? Let's close out this quick segment. Dream match for Logan Paul. If you can pit him against anyone coming soon to a ring near you, who would you put him up against? Tom, we'll start with you because I know you love this. You love this type of talk.
If I had to put Logan Paul up against somebody,
what is your dream match for Logan Paul? Yes,
in WWE.
In WWE, of course.
A loser leave town match against anybody, and he loses.
All right. I'm loving the stipulations. Marco, what about you?
No, man, I'm putting him. There's two people that you could put him with. Both of these guys are best friends. Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens. I'd like to see him in a program with Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn.
There's that
because he already worked with Sami Zayn, like you said before. But I think him working with Kevin Owens would be. I mean, Kevin Owens can make anything work, dude. Like he put Ezekiel over. I mean,
That's true.
That gimmick was probably gonna be dead in the water before KO started doing that whole year Elias thing and just like amping it up, and now it's like one of the biggest or best segments that they have on Raw. One of the best things going. So yeah, no, definitely Kevin Owens. Obviously Kevin would be the heel, I think, in this.
Yeah.
Or he tried to be anyway. And I'm not sure if he gained sympathy points for Logan Paul, but we'll see. I'd like to see that though. I think he'd be the professional. I mean, he did powerbomb Machine Gun Kelly off a stage to a table, so
you really just look back at all the stuff that Kevin Owens has done just in his WWE career.
He's evil. He's an evil person.
He's an evil person, but like the amount of weird stuff that he has made phenomenal is just a testament to how amazing he is. Love Kevin Owens.
He reminds me of like Jericho almost. Like Jericho makes like everything work. Like you put anything in front of him, you give him a freaking pen and a freaking clipboard, and he makes the list out of it.
Plant, yeah.
Yeah, like the plant, like that's Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens can do the same thing. Give that guy anything and he'll make it work.
If I were to pick my Logan Paul match, so many options, obviously, to go up against Logan Paul. You know what? Put him against Seth Rollins. I want to see Logan Paul and Seth Rollins, because Seth is another guy. Everything that Kevin Owens does, I don't know how to like really phrase it. Everything that Kevin Owens does from an entertainment standpoint on making things work, Seth Rollins is the equivalent of that, of being in the ring. You can, have Seth Rollins wrestle a broomstick. And I know that usually is a phrase for like someone like Shawn Michaels, but in this day and age, you can have Seth Rollins wrestle a broomstick and it would be a 5-star match. He is one of those guys that can really bring the best out of his opponents. We've seen that with his matches with like Dominic Mysterio and all these other just random wrestlers. So if anyone, I would like to see him and Seth Rollins. But who knows? Maybe he will just be toying around with Akira Tozawa in the 24/7 title division, and we won't have to worry about any of this. But until then, congrats to Logan Paul, and I really, really hope we do not see Jake Paul in the foreseeable future. I do want to mention a comment by Ace. Ace is in the chat. He says, Logan Paul is a legit athlete, an all-city linebacker in the Cleveland area as a senior in 2012 and placed in the Ohio State Wrestling Tournament in 2013. He's got some raw talent. Well, Ace, I was a little league baseball player. I was a second baseman, and my dad put me in the outfield because he was the coach, and he did not want me ruining our chances at a championship. And I'm not in the MLB, so unfortunately, he may have some talent, but that will just.
I wish he'd go use it somewhere else.
Yeah,
I know
there's a lot of play. I wish J-Bone was here tonight because I know that he would just be. We would already be like 30 minutes into the show of just.
Oh yeah, he hates it.
How can we be 30 minutes into the show at 10:20? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm saying if J-Bone was here, we would be 30 minutes into the show.
Yeah. Because he would just rant about how much he hates.
Just rant about it.
I just don't even want to talk about it. I hate him. I just want him to go away. I'm not buying Logan Paul action figures, so don't even.
Oh, I'm definitely. Oh man, Elites. Yeah, dude, Logan Paul.
Oh, but if it's the Chase version, you're definitely going to be all on that.
I will buy a Ross Gronkowski, and I will not buy a Logan Paul.
Dude, WrestleMania gear.
I was just going to say, the WrestleMania gear was phenomenal.
Thing. Dude, you have to.
What, he had the little Pokemon card?
Like that $80 billion Pokemon card he had. Yeah, dude, I'm definitely getting that.
I'm rocking with his gear. If he's bringing the gear and like different colors of the gear, then we'll talk. But for now, we'll have to see. Nevertheless, let us get right into our next topic here on Outside the Ropes, and another outside of the WWE name that we should be talking about here, Tyson Fury. So Marco, you actually brought this one up in our chat. I had no idea that this was still ongoing. I thought it was only like a quick mention, but apparently Tyson Fury is still being shooed in for a potential return to the WWE. If you want to take this one,
he's in talks. Yeah, he's in talks with the WWE, and it's perfect because obviously in a few we'll have the Cardiff show happening.
Mm-hmm.
So build it now. I'm not sure who he's going to be facing, or it's possible it's going to be Drew McIntyre. That's what I'm thinking anyway, since they've been going back and forth on Twitter, and there's kind of like a story there. That's what I'm assuming that they're going with, and that'll be a big money draw for that show. Definitely. I mean, Tyson Fury is another example. Huge star, all over the world. Probably like the most popular boxer out right now. So I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that happening. And right after SummerSlam, they'll probably start mentioning Tyson Fury and starting to build that up with Drew McIntyre. And I only mention that because I don't see Drew McIntyre in any way, shape, or form involved in a title match with Roman Reigns, because
hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
Got your ass on that one. Go on. You don't think he's facing Roman at Clash of the Castle?
Well, I don't think Roman's going to have the title at that point.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
We really should be saving this for like the SummerSlam talk, but you don't think that Brock
we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait about it, but that is a
yeah.
very hot take, Marco. I'll put a pin on that one for you.
Yeah.
This is why I'm the RAWDOWN champion.
Oh, God. Look at him. I see that head getting bigger and bigger. All right, Tom, well, what do you think on this whole Tyson Fury talk? Are you interested to see Tyson in the ring again?
No, but I mean, if it's just another one-off thing. Whatever.
All right. I don't. Yeah. Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Tom. No, I mean, I know that Tyson Fury is a very hyped up boxer. Well, first of all, I should say I know virtually nothing about boxing, besides the fact that Floyd Mayweather. You see, you're mumbling to the mic. I'm a tripe deaf in this ear. Speak a little louder next time. Listen, I know pretty much nothing about boxing. I'm gonna be real with you. Besides the fact that Floyd Mayweather is undefeated, even though I'm not a big Floyd fan to begin with. However, Tyson Fury seems to be a big deal. I remember when they made the switch over to Fox in 2019, and he was really hyped up around that time period. So this could be a big thing for WWE, especially if they're going to do the Tyson Fury and a Drew McIntyre match. I wonder how they would book that. If you would see, Tyson going over Drew, or if, Drew would take the win there. But whenever someone of what I would assume his caliber comes into WWE, it's usually a big thing. So especially with it being, in Wales, wherever they're having the show, Clash of the Castle, it'll be a big thing overseas as well. So I wouldn't say that this is a bad, return for the WWE, but I don't know. The interest isn't there for me yet.
He looks like a giant blown up Gilbert in this picture.
he's like, I'm not going to say he's not the most in shape guy, because he's pound for pound probably the best heavyweight in the world right now. But I mean, that body right there is the body of the highest form of athleticism. So I mean, you don't need abs to knock. I'll put it this way.
Anymore.
I was always told you don't need abs to knock somebody out. So, and that's he proves that fact. So
remember how popular boxing used to be when I was a kid and Tyson was the champ, and
oh yeah,
it's not nearly what it was.
Oh no, definitely not.
I think MMA has a lot to do with that too. Like the popularity of MMA has hurt boxing.
I mean, he's kind of helping, the name of boxing. Tyson Fury, him being that kind of like that. He's a character, and that's what most professional sports lack is. As much as people want to oh, you still watch wrestling? Yeah, I watch it because there's characters involved. There's people that draw me to it. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of sports in general are lacking that. Like you need to have that that outgoing person, whether you like them or you hate them, or like her or hate her. Like every sport needs it. You need that. You need a villain. Like when Tom Brady was with the Patriots, it was the Patriots are the evil empire, and everyone hated Tom Brady, and he was essentially the heel of the NFL, and the Patriots were the NWO. They were the bad guys. They were coming in to take a championship. So you need that type of thing. And he's definitely doing that for boxing right now. Like Conor McGregor, you need that person that can talk first and foremost. You need somebody that can talk on the mic. Can you cut a promo? I mean, you don't really hear it that much in MMA or boxing, but when it does happen, you take notice. And Tyson Fury's one of those guys. He could cut a promo, definitely.
Who was the guy this past weekend at the UFC show that did the Undertaker's entrance?
I can never say his first name. Adesanya, yeah.
Someone came out. He did a whole Undertaker entrance with the hat and everything.
He came out with the hat, the music, the purple.
He even raised the lights. I thought was
great.
Great.
Yeah, he came out with an urn with
awesome.
his opponent's name etched on it.
And of course, Vince,
so
Stephanie,
cool.
Triple H, and Pat McAfee were in the crowd, so that was a little added touch there.
You need that type of showmanship, like the same thing with Mayweather for boxing. Like he could talk, he could he could prove it in the stuff that he does outside of the boxing that helps, and I think that's that's what WWE looks for. They look for characters,
and this is just another example of the crossover that we're seeing, and it's been for years of just the MMA/boxing into the WWE crossover.
Yeah.
Of course, we saw it with Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. Even recently, obviously Tyson Fury. Even at one of the last Saudi Arabia shows, where they brought in that the Olympic kind of, I forget what the exact sport was, but I don't know. He went up against like Ali or someone.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That literally just popped off my head. Yeah, I don't know how it. Gable Steveson as well. Who is a Raw superstar apparently, but still haven't seen him. So we've seen a lot of this. Like
Kurt Angle is probably the most notable.
Kurt Angle, of course. But I think, like you said, Marco, like you need that charisma factor. You need to be able to talk. You need to be able to be the villain, or be a great hero, or something like that. So Tyson definitely checks off some of those boxes. However, Ace also mentions, good point here, being British. Let me start with this one first. Tyson Fury's one match in WWE came at Crown Jewel, and it was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, it
was against Braun Strowman. At least Logan Paul can work. Zero buzz for me there on Fury. Being British, though, Fury appearing in Cardiff, Wales may pop those fans. If it's one night, whatever, sometimes you got to cater to that hometown crowd.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this too. It also, I'm not gonna blame. Obviously Tyson Fury's first time in a ring. I'm assuming he was training and stuff. But it's also your opponent too. You put him in the ring with Braun Strowman. What do you expect?
That's true.
You put him in there with the guy who can carry the match.
Yeah, like you need someone that can carry. Like Logan Paul was in the ring with Rey Mysterio, which is one of the greatest of all time, and the Miz.
And the Miz, most reliable
worker. Two veterans that were able to carry him and make him look good throughout the whole match. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna blame Tyson for that. I'm gonna blame the control your, what is it called? Control your
narrative. Oh boy,
I'm gonna blame that guy for Tyson not looking good.
Oh man, but so we will be seeing Tyson Fury at I would assume we would see him at Clash of the Castle if there's all this buzz. There's definitely some mutual interest there. So I think we're all kind of in agreement. If Drew doesn't face Roman for the title, which Marco, you got that little hot take over there. It would probably be against Drew. However, if it wasn't against Drew, another fantasy booking round here. Who would you like to see Tyson Fury go up against at Clash of the Castle if Drew is facing Roman for the title? Tom, you look like you're thinking. We'll go over to Marco first.
I'm gonna go. Man, you'd have to put it. I mean, he's a big dude, man. I mean, he's probably the same height as Drew, maybe a little bit taller. I don't want to say Omos because of the size.
God,
but I'd want to put him against another like fighter or someone that used to fight. So maybe a Bobby Lashley, or maybe if Brock's still around and wants a big payday, something. Maybe Brock Lesnar. I mean, I'm not sure how they would. Yeah, I'm not sure how they would do it, but it's Drew's the go-to for this match. I can't really think of anyone else that would take that, unless it's Kevin Owens. Like I said, Kevin Owens can make anything work.
Yeah,
he can talk about how much he does not want to go to the United Kingdom and how much Canada's way better and all that stuff, and get the pop there. But yeah,
Tom, who are you going with?
If I was the booker or the promoter, I would do it Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. Okay.
Fight Tyson
Boxer
Fury.
versus MMA star. That'd be fun.
That's one way to get the UK crowd going.
Oh,
No, Marco, Bobby Lashley. Well,
yeah,
and
Bobby
then
Lashley,
you can,
man.
then you can put Tyson Fury as the heel, which I think he is a natural
Yeah.
heel, as we've been saying. And
Pretty
Bobby
much.
Lashley, Bobby Lashley's not a great face, but he can definitely pull out a
He's-
pretty good match with
Yeah,
with Tyson
he fought
Fury.
MMA too, so
He
he
did
knows how
fight
to-
MMA for sure.
Yeah, so maybe we could go out Lashley instead of Rousey.
I don't know. Your Ronda pick it's really getting the gears going. But maybe we won't be seeing Ronda in due time, as we'll be talking about in our next segment.
Yeah.
That's going to be a conversation point in just a moment. However, before we move on from outside the ropes, we do have a segment that we introduced. What was it? 2 weeks ago at this point, and that is what we like to call officially
Lightning round.
It is time for the lightning round, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we have only 30 seconds to give our quick takes on maybe a topic that not a lot of people have been putting a lot of emphasis on. So let's just get our opinions out there and move the hell on. So this week's topic, I should say, for the lightning round is Ric Flair posted a tweet yesterday saying or giving his thanks to the WWE and Vince McMahon because the most bestowed honor upon Ric Flair is back in his, forget all the 16 world titles, forget all the 17 world titles, I should say, forget all those world championships. He finally got his picture and his signature, back in the WWE signature. It's the biggest accomplishment. Ric Flair, what a day he had yesterday on the 4th of July. All right, Tom, you got your 30 seconds, right? Let's see that timer.
All right.
And here we go. We are going to start.
Ric Flair, the GOAT of wrestling. Can you even see it? No. I think it's well deserved. I'm happy he's back where he needs to be there. Like, you're trying to show off the best of all time in that opening. Then, now, forever. Absolutely. I'm glad Ric Flair, like, that whole thing that came out with Dark Side of the Ring, he looked it in the face. He didn't buckle. And now nobody's talking about it anymore. Everybody's just talking about his last match coming up. Done.
Very good. You got your time in.
Yep.
All right. I'll go on this one here. Let me see the timer when we're ready to go.
Ready.
I'm very happy for Ric Flair. He is on an absolute mountain high. He's getting his retirement match. Of course, there was no other retirement match that he's had in the past that, he's definitely has to face off in this retirement match coming up. And now, to add on top of this, the whipped cream and the cherry on top is now he gets his back in to the signature. So props to Ric Flair. And I hope he becomes the next CEO.
What?
All right.
That's amazing.
Marco, you got 30 seconds. What do you feel about Ric Flair, being back?
I thought it was awesome. I actually heard it when I watched NXT earlier. That's the first thing I listened for was the woo at the during that opening. Definitely well deserved. It definitely didn't feel right without Ric Flair not being there. I think the other thing too is I think Charlotte probably had some like play into that, and it didn't feel right without not having Ric Flair in that opening.
What?
You got a notification on your phone there, Tom. I hope everything's well there. But anyways, yes, I do also want to say the time that they did not have Ric Flair in the little intro, they just did not fill that space. It was just a blank space for the longest time. It was like, you gotta fill it with like a what you gonna do or something.
Not even Hogan, really. I mean,
read Acefield's last comment.
Well, we're about to get to the comments right here, but let's just jump right in. We have Acefield saying, have to say, this has everything to do with Vince having the allegation thrown his way. It changes opinion on Flair. Solidarity among two of them as Vince tries to overcome his current situation. That is definitely something to consider when I'm talking
Yeah,
about
That's a
this
freaking
type of topic.
excellent take when you think about it.
It's definitely a meeting of
It's
the
like
minds,
they're-
if you will.
Vince is like, yeah, we're both being screwed here. This isn't right. Meanwhile, Vince was on that flight and probably saw Flair helicoptering over to the stewardess.
Oh, God. Yes, but alas, Ric Flair is back in the signature, and I'm sure he is here to stay.
And you know what? You do know that they are working on a documentary together too, right? WWE and Flair about his life. So
I think so. That's very true
Flair's
as well.
back into the fold over there in WWE world. And you know what? I'll say it. I'm happy to say it.
Oh, that's very nice. But until then, until we find out more of the Ric Flair, his entry back into the WWE, we have some comments to read. So let's go ahead and read some comments from our active viewers here tonight. Tyson's in the chat. You know it's all about the Boom TNT baby. He also says that, Tom, you and him have something in common. Apparently, you are both champions. Tyson is holding a belt that he cannot defend, however, and shortly, Tom will not be a champion. So
I just keep defending it time after time.
All right. Hold on to your horses there. We'll talk at SummerSlam.
I'm holding on to my title. Okay, that's what I'm holding on to.
Wow. Very nice. I'll see you in a few weeks from now in August for the SummerSlam coronation crowning. Dirty Heels, welcome. Kofi Weedston is in the chat. Thank you for joining us. And Chad also says J-Bone holds the briefcase. It was talked about, so this is official.
I never heard anything about it.
Well, you usually tune us out when we're talking anyway. So
yeah, true.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. Dirty Heels also say nothing for him to do. He'll soon own half the company. I'm not sure who exactly this was for, but I'm sure at this point anyone can own.
He meant Logan Paul.
Yeah, probably
Logan Paul. All right, makes sense.
That'd be great.
Mike Bellcaster was with us. He said, "I watched 10 minutes of Money in the Bank, and it was the women's match." We also have Ace Field already here. Logan versus The Miz would be the best answer, says Mike Bellcaster, giving us some of that WWE booking that he is so famous for. So I'll definitely see that. Ace also says, I'm here for Logan Paul with the exception of Pat McAfee. Paul did the best celebrity appearance, easy for me to say, as far as wrestling working is concerned in many years and seemed to love it.
I think he forgot about Bugs Bunny last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Bad
Bunny.
Bunny, Tom?
Bad Bunny.
I might go. I might give the credit to Bad Bunny on that one. That WrestleMania match was pretty epic.
He was training in Florida.
Yeah, just to know he put
vacation.
He's first of all, he's the biggest artist in the world. Right now,
heard of him before he came into wrestling.
Yeah, and at that time he stopped his world tour and moved down to Florida and trained for 6 months. I mean, it just showed too. That match was he was pretty amazing in that, and he did all the stuff leading up to WrestleMania and did some stuff afterwards. I mean, guy's a wrestling fan. Not saying Logan Paul isn't a fan of wrestling, but
before WWE, I never heard of Bad Bunny. I've never heard of Tyson Fury. So thanks to them, I know who these people are.
Yeah, see?
You have Vince McMahon to thank for introducing you to the biggest musical star in this generation.
Is he really?
Yeah.
He is the most streamed Spotify artist of all time.
Never heard a song of his.
Well, he has a big following in a lot of other countries.
Yeah.
Okay.
His latest album is very good. I definitely recommend people to check it out. All right, we got to that comment already. What else do we have? Oh, Tom is also here with us. So nice of Tom to join us on Twitch, like you should be doing. If you are watching us on YouTube, we can also open another device and put us on Twitch to get us some of those amazing Twitch viewers and help out our streaming numbers go all the way up.
Make us an affiliate, people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ace is very active tonight. Thank you, Ace. He says, put Logan. I'm not sure if this is Logan or if this is
Tyson.
This might be Tyson. Put him in a tag match against Alpha Academy. Let Chad Gable carry him through. Or a 6-man tag teaming with Mustache Mountain against Alpha Academy and throw someone in to team with them. Well, I must say, if you are watching NXT UK, Mustache Mountain just broke up. The Trent Seven turned on Tyler Bate, so we can't do that. But you could put him with
Mustache Mountain is
long overdue.
I think you probably seen Tyler
it's
Bate
like a
before.
sexual position I've never tried.
All right, Tom.
Do you watch any wrestling?
I don't watch
Besides,
NXT. I watched Monday Night Raw. I watched SmackDown. I watched Dynamite. I watched a Royal Rampage this past week. That was freaking great.
Dude, NXT UK is probably like the best WWE product that you've never seen. Or you can't really see unless you're actually looking for it.
That's true. They are very good. They are very good. Ace also says boo. He might have been booing.
It was due. It was long overdue. I mean,
long overdue.
Yeah.
And just a quick shout out to Marco for his adrenaline.
I get a rep. I got to rep the Codester.
Love it.
The roller coaster.
I love that they're using him still.
Oh man, we have fun here on the Raw Down. We are going to get into our next segment. All right, it is now time for the news that you are going to hear within the ropes, and that is with our next segment entitled
Collar and Elbow.
Was that Nick Storm that did that? Does he say collar and elbow? Is that
I think
it's usually Chad and Sneed, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was Nick Storm.
All of our segments should be to use words that are banned in WWE.
The first segment is called Professional Wrestling. Matt's in the floor says, I back the Cody shirt, but lose the hat, Marco.
I can't. I mean, do you know where I live and where I reside? I can't do that.
We're Yankee fans here.
I know, but I'm in
I'm
Boston.
a Mets fan, but
I'm in Massachusetts.
You're a Mets fan?
Unfortunately. No, the Mets have been doing very well this year. I am a Mets fan.
This year, but
loud and proud.
You got a new owner that cares. But we're not here to talk about baseball.
We're not here to talk about baseball. That's for another podcast in the future. That will never happen. We are here to talk about the news that you can find within the ropes. And listen, folks, you're going to be getting a lot of Money in the Bank talk because, we're talking about New York. We're talking about, all these different cities and states. But one thing is for certain.
Going A-Town down.
It's time to go A-Town down, baby. Mr. Money in the Bank has been crowned. We thought we were getting 7 men. They added Madcap Moss in at last minute and, maybe a little bit of a disappointing add to the match. However, here comes Adam Pearce on the Saturday evening to introduce an 8th member to the Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm sitting here thinking that we're going to get John Cena. However, of course, it was the then former United States champion, still former United States champion, Theory was added into the match.
MJF.
I don't know why you thought it would be MJF. I think that is the
I didn't.
the most insane prediction, but it was Theory. And we have a Mr. Money in the Bank. He knocked off Riddle off the ladder last to get that briefcase, and the Money in the Bank has officially gone down to A-Town. So let's talk about Theory for a little bit. Tom, what were your initial reactions to Theory being added into the match? And what do you see for the future of Austin Theory?
Well, here's what I'll say. I was shocked when Theory lost the United States Championship to Lashley. I think we texted about it. It made no sense. And then all of a sudden it made sense. As soon as they introduced him, yes, here's the winner. We knew he was going to win. I'm glad they actually let him win it over the other guys. It's nice to see some fresh blood get it. But I got to say, what I've seen from Theory the last couple of weeks, I love the little attitude adjustment. The way he's acting is so much better than what he was just doing a couple months ago. He's serious now. He seems like a real heel. He's mean. He's good. I like what he's doing, but I don't know what he's going to do at SummerSlam. But the one thing I will guarantee is that Roman Reigns will be walking out of SummerSlam still unified champion.
Marco's shaking his head there. I'm sure he's got a lot of comments on that. But keep it to Theory for now, Marco. What are you feeling about Austin Theory as your Money in the Bank holder?
Like Tom said, definitely was a shock. Obviously, when they announced him, it was more of a shock. I was like, "What the hell?" But right when he got in the match, I knew it was inevitable. He was going to win. And it's one of those instances, kind of like I mentioned earlier. It's where, everyone's like, oh, WWE needs to stop relying on the same people and the same part-timers and blah, blah, blah. And they need to push young, new talent. And here it is.
Here you go.
Now
Here
they're
he is.
shitting on
And
him for
now,
doing it.
oh, we didn't want him. We wanted Montez Ford. We wanted so-and-so. It's like, you can't, it's like you could do one thing and never, like one hand doesn't wash the other, essentially. It's like the other hand's always dirty. You can wash one hand and the other hand stays dirty with fans in general. It's like you got to take it. I mean, you want WWE to put their money into younger guys. He's 24. He's going to be around forever, so get used to him. And it seems like he's going to be one of the main stars. Don't worry, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, all these guys, they're going to be the new faces. Like you're going to see Randy Ortons and the Edges and the Bobby Lashley start going away, and all these
Phasing out. Yeah.
These guys are going to be the main stars, and he's definitely going to be the main. I think he's going to be their main star after Roman Reigns or whoever's he's obviously Roman Reigns. Obviously we still have Cody Rhodes. He's gonna come back. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. He's gonna be the ultimate baby face. So probably Theory's ultimate heel. I mean, that's where I'm going. That's what I'm looking at anyway. For me, I know we'll get to this a little bit later. I don't, for some reason, for the lack of visibility on Roman Reigns, I don't see him past SummerSlam. That's that could be a hot take or not a hot take, but I don't.
I won't give you the hot take on that one.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is this: they can protect Roman Reigns by having Theory interfering in that match, and he kind of wins in that match, not really beating Reigns.
Yeah.
See, but that's where the last man standing thing is kind of confusing. It would have had to be in a regular match. They really could have protected him. He could have pulled a Seth Rollins.
Well, that's the thing, is that if he cashes in that Money in the Bank, and the match is already a last man standing, is it still a last man standing match? Like, can he win if both guys are knocked down?
I think it's going to be after the match. I think whoever's going to win is going to win. Then he's going to cash in, and then it becomes a regular match.
But then, if you run the risk of having, your two top guys, Brock and Roman, I would say both of them are the top guys. Is Theory at a state right now where he can pin one of them, even if it's, Roman gets beat up, fucking suplexed all over the place, it's still a pinfall on Roman Reigns, who hasn't been pinned since 2019.
It could be a pinfall on Brock.
It could be a pinfall.
Brock could be
on
the
Brock
winner.
as well.
I'm saying either way, Roman Reigns is not retaining. I think Brock Lesnar's winning, and then Theory pins Brock Lesnar.
The plan is not for Roman to lose now. I don't see him losing.
I don't see.
I think he's losing. I think he's losing. I don't think they really care about the record number of days. They're doing this as the last match ever between the two guys. They're ending this like the way they're like booking this. It's like the last man standing, last time ever, last chapter. So one of them's not coming back, or they're never revisiting this feud again. So something dramatic is going to happen where it's going to be a definitive, like, they're never going to battle again. And if one of them has a title, there's still like an air of one of them can go after the title again. So say if Roman Reigns does win and this is their last match ever, who's to say Brock Lesnar doesn't come back and they have another match?
Marco,
the only way you can like
last match ever's before where they actually do fight again. So
yeah, Ric Flair's going to have his last match in a few weeks. We've seen it before.
Not like Cody in AEW where he said he wouldn't go for the world title and refused to do it. It's
I just think they're moving. I think right now they're moving in a different direction with their, because I think they hear whoever it is. I mean, obviously Stephanie's kind of in control now, but I think the thing is, we always talk about this. No young talent. They're always relying on the same people. Blah blah blah. Get rid of Brock Lesnar. He definitely create some salary cap for you for the company. Whatever. I think Roman Reigns is probably going to start doing movies or something. I mean, he's definitely going to take that time off, I think. And I think where Cody Rhodes got hurt, I think this is where so if Cody Rhodes never gets hurt, this doesn't happen with Theory.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So Cody Rhodes doesn't get hurt. Randy Orton doesn't get hurt. Theory's still the U.S. champion, and he's doing what he's doing. Maybe he gets a title push later on, but I think now that like Randy Orton's hurt, Cody Rhodes is hurt, Roman Reigns is questionable. Who knows what the hell he's doing? We have no clue. He kind of, just thinking back to those other videos, he kind of said it. This might be the last time you see all of us in a match together.
Mm-hmm.
This might be I'm going to do this and then I'm gone. Like he's kind of like planting seeds already. So I know it's kind of hard to fathom that he's not going to be around to defend his title, but I'm kind of moving in a different direction in my thinking, and I'm thinking Theory's going to cash in and win it, dude.
You make a really good point in that if all of these other factors with the injuries and Roman possibly leaving didn't happen, I feel like Theory was definitely skyrocketed into that position very early. I still don't. I like Theory. I know I was kind of critical about him last week with the promo with Cena, but like rewatching it, like I like it a little bit more just because he's young, cocky. It makes sense. But that doesn't mean that I necessarily think he is like primed for like the world title yet. However, if there's any guy that you're gonna, like you just said, you have Cody out with injury, Roman's probably leaving, Brock is on his way out, Randy Orton's gone. I mean, all these different factors. If there's anyone, it's got to be someone like Theory, who is been built up as Mr. McMahon's protege and all of this type of stuff. What I will say about you kind of alluded to it a little earlier on is that, and this might be like a hot take. I won't do the drop, but
we need the might be a hot take clip.
That's a good drop. This might be a hot take,
a warm take,
lukewarm take. What I will say is, I know everyone is so critical about like these last few years of the WWE, like the NXT 2.0, and focusing not on the independent stars and going for more of these athletes and everything. If it's anything that we can take from, I don't know, what do you want to say, like the last 2 years by this point, now that they've started to fizzle out the ever since NXT 2.0 basically, or the end of the first black and gold NXT around that time period. If there's anything that I could take from this time, is that they have definitely put their head down and started focusing on building new talent.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously you have, your Brocks and your Cenas that are coming in, and, for the most part, they're going up against your Romans and, your top dogs right now. But, you have so many names right now, like Theory, like Riddle, guys who are you even said like the Street Profits, guys who are going to be around for much longer. And you see them putting a lot more of a focus on them, developing their character, like Gunther, and
Gunther,
a lot of these name changes, a lot of these things may be like striking to a lot of fans. But the fact is, like, I've already adapted to calling him Gunther. I've already adapted to calling him Butch. Some of these changes at the end of the day will make that extra jump. Cutting the Matt off of Matt Riddle makes him more marketable. Cutting the Langston off of Big E Langston makes it more, easily, marketable or whatever it may be. And then you look at 2.0, which I know like people are really sour on 2.0, but they're building a lot of characters. That's one thing about, I know people hate that it's on USA Network and they hate that it's on national TV, but let's take this and put it on like the Peacock or WWE Network, and this is the perfect developmental territory. Tonight, I was watching some of the Great American Bash. They brought in like multiple characters. Like these guys and girls have characters. They're doing vignettes. They're really just throwing shit to the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think that is the perfect way to start bringing in some talent, seeing what works and making adjustments as they go along. They have some guys down there that can definitely be brought up, like Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes, Toxic Attraction, all these different names that can definitely make an impact. So
I agree.
So when it comes down to it, although there's been a drastic shift and, obviously WWE is looked at as the sports entertainment company and, AEW is the big wrestling brand. What I'm seeing right now is that the future of WWE, as far as the in-ring talent is concerned, looks a lot more, I could see it. I could see the tunnel. I can see the light. It's forming more than it was when we were doing, the NXT Black and Gold and, focusing on those part-timers more often, because now you have that future, those younger stars that you could put some emphasis on.
Do you guys-
Go ahead, Tom.
Do you guys agree that the Austin Theory we've seen the last couple of weeks compared to the guy that we saw around WrestleMania, it's like a different character? Like,
Yeah.
you heard he was the hand chosen one. Like, I'm like, well, I didn't see it. The last couple of weeks, I can absolutely see it.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that can be Triple H coming back to work if he's been working with the guy and giving him some tips, because he kind of has a little Triple H in him. Like, it's definitely like fresh to, like, it's nice. It's welcome to see what he's done the last couple of weeks.
The other thing, just to build off of what Anthony said about the NXT stuff, like at the beginning of NXT, it was how, if you remember, if you go back and watch NXT in the way beginning before, it became like the Black and Gold brand, when Sasha was there and Charlotte and Bayley and, Alexa Bliss and all these, it was pretty much NXT 2.0. That's what it was like. It was built. It was priming these young up and coming talents to be on TV. It got away from it when they started signing all the indie people. Like they started
to make it their own brand.
Yep, Shinsuke and like all these, and Samoa Joe, and so like it became its own brand, and it lost the focus of like breeding these young talent for the main roster. And that's why I really don't like discourage on NXT 2.0, because it reminds me of the beginning of NXT when it first started. It's it's creating all these new characters, like you said, developing all these new young people, and they're trying out whatever it is now, and it might not stick, it might stick. From what I see, it looks like their gimmicks can translate right over to without even changing anything.
Absolutely.
I think anyone that changed over recently, like Butch and Gunther, they were the last remnants of that Black and Gold. And they if they stuck around in NXT 2.0, maybe they would have, developed that Butch character and that Gunther character a little bit better, and then you would have been more adjusted to it once they hit the main roster. But they kind of changed his name and then moved him right over to SmackDown, which is kind of jarring. But with these people, like I could see Carmelo Hayes, like you said, Braun Breaker, like all these, I could see them as stars in the WWE, as like main event stars and or mid card stars. I can see the women there too that they have in NXT right now, like moving up to the main roster. I think Toxic Attraction is probably going to move up. Spoiler alert: they lost their titles tonight, the tag titles. I could see all three of them or two of them moving up, and then the other one following suit. So, I mean, it definitely has a better, like a more of a better outlook for WWE with NXT 2.0. Yes, it is kind of like, goofy and corny at times, but it is what it is. Look at freaking Kane before he became Kane. He was a dentist. You got to take whatever gimmick they give you and then make it work, and from there you move on and hopefully become a big star. So yeah, I think the future looks definitely a little bit brighter for WWE.
Don't understand, and guys, like, let's not harp on this too long, but why they still can't hand pick some guys from the indies that they want to bring in, whether it be to NXT 2.0 or rather straight to the main roster. There's no reason why they can't, use some of these guys. It doesn't have to be a ton of them, but there's some talent out there. If you see somebody that you think will help your roster, go after them.
Well, that's really where AEW has come in, because the way I really see it, like when NXT first started off, the indie scene was very, like prominent, like everyone, not just the indies, but like, your New Japans and ROH, like those companies were really, really big with a lot of these stars that everyone knew. Once WWE had that mentality of let's raid the indies, they got everyone that you would really expect them to get.
Yep.
That's where AEW came in and basically said, all right, everyone else that WWE hasn't got, group them all together. We'll start picking up all these other names. Anyone who from WWE feels that they aren't being wanted or misused, whatever, bring them in. So I think that's kind of why you're not seeing a lot of those indie stars going to WWE, is because they probably see it as, well, AEW is the wrestling brand. They are the, they're going to let me be me, plus, like, I feel like there's not maybe this is because I'm not like as in depth with the indies right now, but all right, maybe I'll throw in a hot take because I might get some heat.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
The
I think I know
indie
what you're
scene.
gonna say. It's gonna be bad.
I don't know. I don't know if you do, but the indie scene as it is now isn't as like prominent with big stars as it was back then.
I knew that's exactly what I was thinking you were gonna say. Which,
But like, just think of it as like the indies, like, you know, AEW, they have their guys, they're bringing in everyone. But like, really, just think about like the guys that are not signed to a certain company or not associated with one company over the other. Like, you know, and compare that to the time period of like that 2014 to 2016 when NXT was at its all-time high. Could you really tell me anyone that's like, you know, that is missing, that the WWE or AEW are really missing out on signing?
I mean, the only one I can think of right now is Matt Cardona. It's like he's the one that's like really making the waves out there as far as.
And that's
you know,
not to say, let me just clarify, that's not
Yeah.
to say that the WWE, that, you know, the indie scene is just, you know, like no one. But I'm saying like, you know, big names that the WWE would be looking at as like, shit, like we need this guy. Like, I feel like that mentality has just changed because, you know, New Japan and ROH had a lot to do with, you know, building those guys up. You know, when you have like the GCWs and the, you know, all of your other smaller indies that have kind of flipped the mentality on, you know, independent wrestling. I feel like WWE is almost like, you know, we have our guys already. Like we could just develop these young football guys and
Even
we'll
if
be fine.
like, that means the indie scene right now is younger than it's ever been and more ripe for the picking to go pick the guys that haven't made it yet and try and get
That's
there.
true. And that this opinion could change a few years from now because everyone's still young. I mean, we've got guys that are younger than me wrestling. Nick Wayne just signed to an AEW contract and he's what, 18 years old?
Not even
Yeah, not even 18. I think he's going to AEW when he's 18.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I put the hot take because I know that like a lot of the guys at the tavern are more in depth with, you know, your GCWs and everything.
So
So
I say GCW is like the hottest indie thing going in the longest time, so it's kind of hard to say. Nah.
And who's a part of GCW? Matt Cardona. And he's the one that kind of brought. I mean, not taking anything away from GCW, and you know, obviously John Moxley was around and stuff like that, but it really didn't get the notoriety it did, or like got kind of like boosted up. Was until Matt Cardona had that match with Nick Gage and had that feud with Nick Gage. That's what really kind of like pushed it in the forefront. He was calling it like, you know, kind of make it WWE centric, calling it like he called the fans the GCW universe, and you know, he's gonna make the spinner GCW belt and all that stuff. Like that kind of like push. He became that like ultimate heel. Everything that everyone hates essentially. And if you're a GCW fan or a fan of that type of wrestling, like he knew that and he used that, and he pushed it to the forefront, man. As much as people want to, that I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think a lot of people would agree. I mean, he did. I mean, you could go back and go Nick Gage when they did that Dark Side of the Ring. That kind of brought a lot of eyes to GCW and what it was about. And then having obviously Matt Cardona,
Aaron Rourke, Bryce Donovan, Aaron Mercer. What I meant in the take was just right now. The indie scene isn't as big as it was around that NXT time. But that is surely going to change once we get, you know, a few years from now when they really develop into those stars where, you know, WWE and AEW are going to be like, yeah, like we need these guys right now. And that's also because a lot of the guys in that 2014, 2016 period were already close to being in their primes. You know, you have guys who are 18 years old, 19 years old. They have time. So, you know, obviously we'll see from now. I think there's a lot of guys that could definitely get picked up, but
Ace brought up some great names there.
You
no,
absolutely
definitely
brought up some great names.
And they would just have to go through like the developmental, like if they were to go to WWE, they'd have to kind of like
get the name change and everything
and stuff. But I think if it's I'll just code it by this: like if it's a big name in the indies, they don't go to NXT. They need to do what they did with AJ Styles, and they show right up on WWE programming, right up on Raw, on SmackDown, or a pay-per-view. Same thing they did with Cody. They didn't put Cody in NXT and have him flounder around and then show up on WWE. You take that, whatever character they have now, and just feed them to the WWE audience, and they'll
I
take
do
it.
think we'll see more of that. We'll see other guys come over from AEW
Yeah.
to WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
we
mean,
definitely will.
you take a Jay White dude, like Jay White, throw him right on. You don't put him in NXT. You put him right on TV.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Um,
Will Ospreay. Let's sign Will
Will
Ospreay to
Ospreay.
WWE.
He's a showman. He's an entertainer as well.
Can
Like,
you imagine? I think Will Ospreay to WWE, if it happened, is like a game changing to WWE
oh,
right now.
dude, Seth
That would
Rollins.
be a really good game changer.
Him and Seth Rollins, because they already have a story that's been going on for a couple of years.
Yep.
Just like going back and forth about who's the best wrestler. And yeah.
Yep.
With fantasy
Look, we could talk forever about the indies and merging with the WWE and all of this, but we do have some more Money in the Bank to get to, so let's
Yes, we
continue
do.
on with that.
Right.
So moral of the story, Theory winning Money in the Bank was a pretty good idea. So it's
Yes.
good that we see some young blood getting.
And I also like real quick how they had him and Riddle be the two on the ladder at the end.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll bring in these comments real quick from Ace because he was very vocal in our chat. He said that it was Riddle's time as far as storytelling to go over. Limited time to strike while hot. I'm cool with Theory and I love him as a future pillar, but 36-year-old is Theory. The numbers that Riddle and Roman did to alter the way they think about him, add him into the huge merch sales, yet they have Omos squash him on Raw after taking Reigns to the limit. Ass backwards booking. Theory is super talented, and I would love him to go over and win the title, get the rub from Roman, but I can't see him having the clean win that would be needed to properly coronate him. That's all, a good
Rick
point.
Paul's comment on that is Riddle's 36. He's just entering his prime.
Yeah.
He's not crazy. He's not taking bumps like Darby. He's going to be around another 10 years at least.
Yeah. No,
I mean, look
agree.
at these guys in their prime. Most of these guys are older now in their prime. Prime's
Look at
not
AJ.
as young as it used to be for wrestling. You got AJ. Look at Lashley. He's like in his mid 40s.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he did when he first came in. He actually looks better now than he did.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, I was kind of shocked at the Theory Lashley match. I was expected to be bored by it. They both did great, and I'm actually kind of digging Lashley as a face this time.
Yeah.
Seems to be the best thing he's done as a face since he started wrestling.
He's looked great so far.
Yeah.
And
He's looked very good.
We'll talk about it a little bit later, but he kind of dropped. I'm not sure if the rumors are true, but he did kind of drop a little seed when he cut his promo. I'm not sure if you guys heard his
I did not
words.
catch that. We'll get to that. We'll be talking about Lashley in just a moment here with some Money in the Bank talk. But yes, Riddle has some time. I feel like the story isn't even close to being done with Riddle. I do see him as a future world champion. And I think giving him that win against Roman so early would have prevented from a much longer story. We still have everything with Randy. He'll have his time eventually. I think Theory is the guy that need to push right now.
I'd love to see a Riddle Theory. Let that story start now, like Austin and Rock did, and just work their way up.
That could be your next money feud. Fuck it. Maybe put it at WrestleMania. Who knows?
Yep.
But alas, we do have some other stuff to talk about for Money in the Bank. Not only did we see a Mr. Money in the Bank being crowned, but we also saw a Mrs. Money in the Bank being crowned. Not only did we see a Mrs. Money in the Bank being crowned, but we saw a new SmackDown Women's Champion be crowned.
Yes.
You only live once. Liv Morgan has won. She rolled up Ronda Rousey to pin her and win her first ever world championship, her first ever championship period in the WWE. And now we have ushered into the Liv era, if you will. So this caught me by surprise. The only reason why is because we have seen so many.
Catch me by surprise.
Oh, it didn't catch you by surprise. You're holding the title. It did catch me by surprise due to the fact that we've seen so many same day or at least 24 hours span women's cash-ins ever since the Money in the Bank was brought in for the women. You can make the argument that it's lazy booking. I could back that up and say that it is because the last 5 years now it's been within 24 hours. They've cashed in. However, this is a really good moment for Liv Morgan. It's about time. I mean, they've been teasing it for so long, like ever since, Tom, we were doing the SmackDown shows, they were teasing. We thought that it was going to happen last year, but it finally happened this year. And it looks like we're getting no Ronda Rousey for a little bit. It seems that she's, dropping the belt.
I just read that she's fighting Liv in a rematch at SummerSlam.
Yes.
Well, there you go. It looks like we're getting
that's a
some more
rumor,
Ronda
yeah.
Rousey then.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, let's talk about that then. So Ronda Rousey, I did read that too. I don't know why I forgot that, but Ronda Rousey, Liv Morgan is happening at SummerSlam, supposedly. It's not confirmed yet, but who knows? This seems to be a way to kind of turn Ronda into the heel that a lot of people have been clamoring for. Marco, I'll start with you on this one. What were your thoughts on? Were you surprised with Liv Morgan cashing in so recently, so early as she did? And what do you see as the future with her as champion and Ronda as a potential challenger?
I think definitely was definitely was shocked that she actually cashed it in. But then I thought about it and I was like, the Money in the Bank briefcase was a prop, right? So like, how would she fare not cashing it in that night and taking that opportunity? And her going day in and day out with a briefcase, and like she'd have to go out and do promos and kind of be that. It's hard. It's hard to do stuff like that. So not saying she doesn't have the personality to do it, but I think it was the right thing for her to do to cash it in right away. Because then if she's holding on to the briefcase, she has to like I said, go out every week and cut promos and say I'm going to cash it in whenever, blah blah blah. I think the Money in the briefcase is better for a heel than it is a face to have it. Because with the heel, there's always that like tease that they're going to do it, and then they get scared and don't do it essentially.
Yeah.
Or they just they tease the fact that like the Miz when he had it, he was awesome at it. No pun intended, but but for even like with like Alexa Bliss, I think she cashed it in the same night, right?
Same day, yeah.
She had it. See, I think she could have, with her personality, she could have done something with the briefcase. She didn't really necessarily have to cash it in right away. But Liv, I think it was the right thing for her to do to get it. Was it a shock? Because I know a lot of people just going through Twitter, a lot of people thought she was gonna lose because I think did she get she got put in the ankle lock, right? When
I thought
I thought she was gonna lose,
yeah, a lot of people thought she was gonna lose. So it kind of killed the crowd. If you go back and watch it, people were like, "Oh my god, her music hit," and then and there was no Bill case in her character.
We've entered kind of.
Yes.
Liv Morgan has been someone that hasn't been presented on TV as much as a real threat. Like she gets her little matches every now and then. Money in the Bank last year, really thought you were going to get that. Even day one, the pay-per-view with Becky Lynch, thought for a moment that she was going to get it there. But in between that, you would get the tag team feuds, and you would never really see Liv Morgan as a consistent threat. However, if you look on social media, there are millions upon millions of fan pages just with so much support for Liv. Everyone, even after she won the belt, everyone who is anyone in wrestling was congratulating her, celebrating her win. So you can see how dedicated she is to it and how respected she is. So I feel like that's an interesting twist that we're kind of getting now, is that the fans are kind of turning into that story for the wrestlers to get their moments. But Tom, what were you thinking about all this?
I'm happy to see her get the shot. I was kind of shocked it was over Ronda, but again, what a way to put someone over who's getting into that spotlight. What a great rub. So I think it's good. Question for you guys. The one thing my wife can't stand about Liv is all the screaming she does. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Screaming.
Even in her promo, she kept screaming.
I guess it's just the younger type of wrestler, new vibe or whatever. You're not going to see Charlotte screaming.
I don't mind it in the match because she's into the match, but when she just started screaming in a promo, I was just chill out a little, girl. A little bit.
I'm excited.
Yeah. She won a title. Tom, if you won the women's championship, you would be going crazy.
I'm the Raw champion. You don't see me screaming on here.
You're always screaming, but maybe that's just the ringing in my ear from listening to you every Tuesday. No, what I will say is that I'm excited for a fresh take on the women's championship. We've seen Charlotte, Ronda, all these names so many times, but now you're starting to see Bianca, they've built up as someone that was completely, different from the four horsewomen. And now you see Liv, who was, built up from WWE. I believe neither of them were on the indies before WWE. So they are two homegrown talents. One of the only superstars in WWE to pin Ronda Rousey, which is huge as well. And I think she's the first outside of the 4 horsewomen to do that. So another really big rub there for her too. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do. Hopefully it's not just, a quick title reign or something and they give her a little bit of a run with the belt. But I guess, that'll be seen in time. What do you think about this match with Ronda at SummerSlam that we're supposedly getting? Do you think that we're going to get Liv as champion for a while, or do you see them maybe, stunting it a little bit with a Charlotte or a Ronda? Or do you think we're at that point where it's finally time that we can put the title on someone not named Charlotte and Ronda and run with it?
I hope they give her a little lengthy run, even if it's still Survivor Series somewhere around there. I just don't want it to be a 1 month next pay-per-view and done thing.
Yeah. I
That's
think
what
she'll
happened
hold on.
with Nikki Cross last year. She wins the Money in the Bank, cashes in, loses it at SummerSlam.
Yeah. I think, like you said, with social media and stuff like that, I think Liv has more of a fan base than Nikki did at the time. But not to discourage that. But I definitely think, I think she makes it. I think she makes it past SummerSlam with the title. But I also think you get the return of Charlotte at that point, or I don't think you're going to get it before SummerSlam. I think it's going to be either at SummerSlam or after.
All right.
Maybe that Monday Night Raw or something like that. She has to return at some point. Her dad's back. We just talked about this earlier. He's good. He's in good graces with the WWE now.
Andrade's wearing the Yankee pants again. We're back to business.
Andrade's wearing the Yankee pants again. He's still, his attempts to bring the whole family over failed, it looks like. But
at least he's got the family office still. No. That's always good.
Well, let's just quick question. Make it really fast again. Andrade, we all assumed Charlotte was going to run over to AEW when her contract expired, but after the way Andrade has been treated, I think we might see Andrade wind up back in WWE sooner.
I think so.
Ooh, you know what?
That's not a hot take, is it?
I think it's a hot take. I'll throw it out.
Hot takes here. Get your hot takes here.
That's a hot take to me. I don't know if I see Andrade back there, but it could happen.
Think so. I think
they've booked him worse in AEW than he was in WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was over in WWE.
Yep. Not even just NXT. In WWE, I think he was miles ahead of where he is right now in AEW.
Oh, and NXT, I was talking main roster.
Yeah, if they stick him back with Zelina Vega, man, gold again. He could have been in the title picture at some point.
100%.
Absolutely, he should have been.
Dude's talented. Yeah. He's been wasted in AEW, and it's a shame because he came in so cool and that seemed really awesome, and he was going to.
No, you're right.
And that aura is just gone now.
Yeah, better presentation too in WWE as far as gear and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, just another quick little topic here. We mentioned it before. We'll mention it again. New U.S. champion is Bobby Lashley. He won the title. Of course, he took the title off of Theory. Theory went on to win Money in the Bank. But now we have Bobby Lashley as champion again. Any thoughts on Lashley being the champion again? Where do you see them going with this Lashley as a face holding the title? I figured, we would see Theory as champion for a while, but Marco, as you said, just skyrocket Theory to the main event with all of these other conditions that are happening in the WWE. What do you see for Lashley? Is he a transitional champion? What are you thinking?
Kind of weird. He's getting a rematch at SummerSlam Theory. So I don't know. It's kind of confusing right now.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. it is. He obviously he has his storyline with Theory leading into SummerSlam, so that's happening. After that, not sure who would be the. It definitely have to be obviously another heel. I'm assuming maybe he gets in the mix with Judgment Day or something like that, or gets to do a feud with Damian Priest and Finn Balor or something, or I don't know. That's those only two I can actually think of. Hopefully, he doesn't get back into it with Omos.
I was just gonna say, hopefully, it's not.
Please no. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other heels. Maybe Kevin Owens or something like that. Maybe I don't know. That'd be actually pretty interesting Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens. I wouldn't actually.
We haven't seen that yet. I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, we haven't. So yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be obviously a heel. But theories. I mean, I'm making early predictions. He's obviously not going to win the U.S. Championship back.
Oof.
That's in my eyes, anyway.
Now that's a hot take if I've ever seen. No,
Yeah.
It's pretty set in stone that I think we're gonna get Theory winning or Theory losing round.
It's time to shake things up around here.
Yeah, shake it up, Vince.
Shake it up.
Shake it up, baby.
Don't shake it up too much, though.
Yeah.
Last little topic here for the collar and elbow. Talked all about Money in the Bank. Those are really the main topics that you would expect to hear from us on Money in the Bank. However, there was one little thing that I wanted to bring up, and it struck a lot of controversy and all of this that happened within Money in the Bank. Twitter was blowing up over it, and it was, of course, this little video about 30 seconds long. No one really knew what it was until you slowed it down and you started watching it. But we got this intriguing vignette, for a what I would assume to be a wrestler coming into the WWE. Maybe, this was a lot of people saying at the time, new wrestler. Maybe it's, Gable Steveson, a new gimmick because we saw a gold medal. Maybe it was The Fiend returning because, spooky stuff. Yeah. However, if you look into the video, you start to see this little Easter eggs. You see a Eddie Guerrero license plate. You see a Kurt Angle gold medal. Someone actually made that comparison. You see the Dudley's glasses. You see the Hardy's armbands. So this is all roads lead to Edge. This is Edge's return. Will he be getting a new character? Will he be tapping more into his Brood-like tendencies? I know we saw a lot of this for the Judgment Day. Tom, you were originally for, or at least thinking that this was The Fiend. Now that it's kind of been more...
Yeah, watching it quickly, but seeing all those Edge things. But here's the thing. If Edge really got out of Judgment Day because he didn't want to do the sci-fi stuff, it makes no sense for this promo.
That's very true. That's what I was thinking. But I mean, at the same time, this could be kind of just a spooky character. He doesn't really need to go into the, the supernatural end of it. And that's still, we haven't even seen that from Judgment Day yet. So who knows what's going on there. Marco, what are your thoughts on Edge possibly returning with a new gimmick?
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you go back to his earlier vignettes when he was debuting, they're pretty similar. Like him being on the street, obviously it showed him a little bit more on those vignettes, but very, very similar. Like a lot of kind of like chaos in the background, and obviously it did kind of look like like a Bray Wyatt type deal, but not really. I mean, there wasn't that much spooky things, just imagery more than anything. It wasn't wasn't too
the
crazy.
Fire and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. If it was a Bray Wyatt thing, you would have seen like a decaying like porcelain doll and creepy kids laughing and all that type of stuff. So I mean, this vignette didn't really seem like creepy or spooky in a sense. It was just weird more than anything, because you didn't know what the hell was going on. But then
I feel like it was also sorry, Marco. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was going to say
oh shit. Go ahead, Marco.
I was going to say, as people picked it apart frame by frame, it didn't seem as spooky and as eerie as we thought everyone thought it was. It wasn't. There weren't like you see that spooky tree and all that stuff. There wasn't like a if it was a Bray Wyatt situation, there would have been a crow on it or something like it. There was there's little telltale things. There wasn't something swinging from it or a kid swinging on a thing and then they disappear, that type of stuff. So yeah. I mean,
if it was Bray Wyatt, I don't even think you would see this type of vignette to begin with, because Bray Wyatt coming back to WWE seems like a big thing. They wouldn't just sprinkle a vignette in the middle of Money in the Bank.
I disagree. Teasing a vignette. I mean, I don't think this is Bray, but if Bray was going to come back, teasing vignettes to get people talking would be the perfect way to do it.
Well, yeah, but I feel like you would make it more of a big thing, the way that they started presenting the Fiend earlier on, before he came into started doing all the being actually in WWE, doing those little teasers, all the lights would go out or something. I feel like they would make it a really big deal. A random vignette, I feel like you could do a lot more for someone like Bray. Whereas if
Yeah.
it's Edge,
I
you know,
disagree.
and it's just a
Little
gimmick change.
vignettes week to week with little clues, and then finally you get that one vignette that says next week, and like it just lets you know next week. Then all of a sudden everybody's turning in.
That definitely could work. And I feel like it's a basic way to go about it, but like simple but effective. So you could be right there. But yes, so it looks like it's going to be Edge. Time will tell if we'll actually be getting more of this Judgment Day and Edge feud, because of the way Judgment Day was looking on Raw, losing to the Mysterios.
Ugh.
Kind of biting my tongue a little bit on what I've been saying. Not yet. It's still early. They were in San Diego. I'll let it pass. But next week,
At least it was a disqualification.
it was
Again,
a disqualification. That's very true.
Again, I'm going to bring this up to you as well. Rhea Ripley being injured. Does
Mhm.
Liv Morgan go on to win Money in the Bank and become SmackDown Women's Champion? Like, there's a lot of...
Well, possibly.
then you
Because no,
But-
absolutely. Because if Rhea beats who's the World Women's Champion now?
Bianca.
Oh, she could have beat
Bianca.
Bianca and then
Take
Liv-
that title off. You don't even know who the Raw Women's Champion is.
drew a blank. If Rhea beats Bianca, Liv could still
True.
beat
That's right.
Ronda. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that affected that.
Yeah, who knows? But alas, we will be seeing. Probably will be seeing Edge very soon. I wonder if we'll get him by SummerSlam, or if I'm sure we'll get him before SummerSlam. They're doing a stadium show. He needs to be there.
Yeah.
But yes, that is going to wrap it up for the collar and elbow segment. Just real quick, because the comment section is going crazy for us tonight. I
boy.
do want to just get to some of these quick comments, because we also have just a little bit more to get through. Ace says, WrestleMania 40, WWE would be in a good place if they just can commit like they did in 95, 96 and commit to their guys. Have Theory / Ford for the title and stop relying on nostalgia acts to sell shows. Theory versus Ford could work, but I don't know. I think Theory versus Riddle is where we're at right now.
Yeah, Theory versus Riddle. Theory.
You could build Theory up, not Theory, Ford up to be that next guy. Who knows? WrestleMania 40 is a ways away from now. Imagine how stunted Austin and Rock's growth would have been if you kept bringing in Hogan, Macho, Piper, etc. to main event in lieu of them. Good point. Very good point.
Was he back then? They had them both, and they mixed it in.
They weren't like in the the top guys. They were kind of like the nostalgia acts, if anything. Let's elevate that. We have Carlos from the 813 in the chat. He says, the question is, how long is Liv going to hold the title with Charlotte coming back? Liv versus Charlotte is rumored for SummerSlam. We already talked about it. I think Liv versus Ronda is the match that's rumored. We already discussed it a little bit, but Charlotte coming back is definitely a factor to consider, because they want Charlotte to get all 16, 17 of those women's championships. So again, time will tell. We're going to have to wait and see. But Liv Morgan hoping for a long, lengthy title run. And of course, Freems is going to be our next United States champion. He will defeat Bobby Lashley. So
looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it. I could lock in my prediction now for SummerSlam. Freems versus Bobby Lashley. Good match there. Good match.
Good booking right there.
Good booking. Hey, man, look.
I watched the match, and a matter of fact, I fell asleep in the middle of it.
Not for Freems, though. Not for Freems. I wanted to hit this one.
We make movies.
That was the one I wanted to hit.
I'd watch it to see if he got out of the Hurt Lock. That's all I'd watch it for, to see if Freems can actually get out of it.
That would be a good little test of strength there.
With Jim Ross and Vince Russo. Vince Russo looks like Eddie Munster.
All right.
Who's that?
Going on. Eddie Munster? Oh.
No, I'm joking.
Freems said he's taking it to Mania. Let that slow build. Let the slow build go. Bobby Lashley and Freems.
Yeah. He's just Bobby Lashley's just a designated title holder.
Yeah.
For Freems. That's what
keeping the belt warm. Forget Theory. Forget Riddle. Our main event of WrestleMania 40. Zach Freeman versus Bobby Lashley.
And we'll stream it on twitch.tv/Freems.
Yes, of course we will. He's got to get the banner in. This is the one time that you get the banner in on the right time. You never get it right on the all wrap up.
I know I'm terrible at the banner.
It's fine. You'll get there eventually. Anyways, it is now time for our final segment, and that is... What did he say? I'm going to put that one up on the stream. All right. It is now time to get into our final topic on the night, and that is to talk about Raw versus SmackDown, who won the week. But first, we have to discuss... Match of the week brought to you by the Raw Down. There were a lot of candidates from Money in the Bank. I know we're going back to Money in the Bank here, but like, let's be real. The match of the week was from this Money in the Bank card. There's a few matches you can pick here. I think the Usos versus Street Profits is definitely up there as far as one of the candidates. I don't know if you guys agree.
Oh yeah, no, that
yeah.
We need a run back though. They have to run it back at SummerSlam, I think.
Yeah, hopefully.
And again, this is my own fake booking, but I think SummerSlam is the end of like everything. Bloodline done. It's a pretty you gotta like you can't keep on having the Street Profits put on that caliber of a match and have that many close calls and not win.
That's true.
Like it kills them. Like what do you do after?
I feel like they're letting Usos beat the New Day's record.
How long was the New Day's record?
But I don't know about there was way more.
Yeah, something 400.
It was way more tag teams back then too, though. They had a better tag team division back when New Day was the champs. Yeah. Now it's just like 3 teams.
Even with really the merge of the brands, like you still have 3 teams. One of them is injured. So
are they really? Is it really going to like do anything if they beat the Street? I think the Street Profits will win it eventually, and they had that like fluke ending. If you guys remember, where he held his arm up, like his shoulder was off the mat. It wasn't a clean pin, so they kind of left it open that they didn't actually win.
Well, this could also add to the whole story of them. Even on NXT tonight, they brought it up. The dissension between the Street Profits. Apparently, they're trying to like tie in a story of like the Street Profits aren't getting along. Meanwhile, we haven't seen that on TV whatsoever.
Yes, I don't get that.
Absolutely no sense.
Are you guys watching NXT?
I watch NXT from time to time. It's honestly a pretty good show. Like if you give it
was actually good tonight.
It was a pretty good show.
Better? Is it getting better? Okay.
It's definitely getting better. But it's also for like that younger crowd, I feel like. Like if you're full on pro wrestling mentality like AEW, like you're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? But like if you're open to it, then like it's kind of just it's what you would expect for a developmental for WWE.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. You should give it a check it out.
Yeah, they have some wrestlers on there that you probably like. The Creeds are awesome.
Creeds are really good.
The Creed brothers, they're more like the actual like wrestling, like mat wrestling and stuff like that. So like, there's people on there that can
I know Mandy Rose
on NXT 2.0. I think you won't like everything, but you like some things.
Very true. But back to Street Profits here. I don't know if we're gonna get the Street Profits breaking up. I could see it with the way that like they've kind of been hyping it up. Like even Dawkins has been getting some hype behind him as a singles guy. So we could be seeing both of them kind of being pushed towards it. So
I don't know. I don't know even where that like thing came from. That whole like storyline where they didn't even bring, like you said, they didn't bring it up on TV that I remember anyway.
Out of thin air.
Yeah, I know the Usos kind of brought it up like during that promo that they had before on SmackDown. They kind of brought up like there's some dissension between you two, and then like he kind of shot that down. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure. Maybe it's something that they're kind of like putting it out there just to see if people like want to like go that route. Maybe they're trying to put feelers out to see if they should split them up. I'm assuming that's what that is. Just throw it out there, see what the internet says, see if people on Twitter are like, no, don't break up the Street Profits. They're awesome. And then maybe they change their minds or whatever. But I don't know, man. I think I see them winning. I see them winning the title. That's not they're making it too close a call. Especially
they're in the best position that they've been in a while for them to win the titles. They've really built them up in these last few weeks.
Yep.
So
I think the bloodlines, I think they're all going on vacation. I think they're, we still have Naomi out there floating around. That might be a factor in this as well. That's what a lot of people on the internet say, though, that Naomi could be kind of like a pebble in their shoe anyway, in the bloodline shoe. Just because of a relationship and what happened. Not even the power of Roman Reigns can influence business, so we'll see.
Acknowledge me.
But yeah, so that was definitely one of the matches of the week. I would also throw up the men's Money in the Bank match. I think was really, really good, especially with some of the names. Like we were kind of skeptical about like Madcap Moss getting added in, and like even like Sheamus and names like that, but they really pulled out all the stops. I think they had a really like story-driven Money in the Bank, some really good spots, and everyone played their part really well. I think Omos even played his role really, really well.
I was legit. I was going to say that. He even had an outing.
Yeah, I think this is one of like the I think one of his best looks that he's had in WWE so far is this Money in the Bank match, which you always need a big guy in the Money in the Bank to spice things up. And the last match that I'll throw in there just for Money in the Bank is Theory and Lashley. That match, we like Tom, you put the little sleeping emoji or sleeping gif in the chat before the match, and like these guys really had a great match.
Dude, good for them. I was shocked. I was not expecting it, and they did. They worked their asses off. They put on a solid ass match. It's fun to see a match you're not expecting to be good surpass your expectations, and they blew mine away. And again, it's just Theory is just turning into the star that they said they saw that I didn't see.
He's good.
And now
he's athletic as hell. Yeah, he's. I mean, he can do it all, man. He can be the strong guy if you need him. He can be the quick, athletic dude. He can.
Plus, we're getting this match again at SummerSlam. So, like, we're getting it twice. You know, the United States title has really been an overlooked championship in these the last year alone. Like, everything that, Sheamus and Riddle were doing for the title, Lashley with the Hurt Business, and now, of course, we're getting Theory as the U.S. champion. Like, it's slowly becoming like, for a while, the IC title was like the workhorse title, and, it was kind of losing that prestige for a while. I think the United States title has done a lot to really get close to getting on an even playing field right now, at least. Yeah. Obviously the IC title has the history and everything, but maybe the United States championship is turning into that workhorse championship.
Actually, I actually think it's the best. I think it's the best looking title too.
It's a great looking title. Yeah.
Out of all the titles that they have there, I think that's the best looking one.
It's
that's
nice
not a hot take. I don't think that's a hot take at all, but
yeah, it's not a hot take. What are you gonna say, Tom?
It's nice to see like that the U.S. titles and the Intercontinental title feel like they're being meaningful again.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it in a while, so I feel like they're really starting to clean up some of the shit that's been going on there. Like I'm digging Gunther as the Intercontinental title. Like I'm there.
He's great. He's so great.
Like they're making it meaningful. Like this is a badass Intercontinental champion. So good for them. This is what we need. And you know what? Can keep the other titles combined and keep the Intercontinental title and the U.S. Championship separated. I like the fact that we saw Gunther on Raw. It seemed like the brand split is done. Usually, I think the draft has been in September the last few years, right? We haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it going, baby.
Yeah. Last thing that I wanted to bring up on this, I didn't make a graphic or anything for it. It was just off the top of my head. But the brand split is over, as we especially saw yesterday. Liv Morgan was on the show. Gunther was on the show. People say, I know we've had a lot of discussions in the past about the brand split ending and everything. And, is it good? Is it bad? Honestly, I think it's great for them to finally end the brand split. I feel like it's the correct move. And you have to think of it from two ends. One is from watching on a TV standpoint, since you're not always in the arena, you have these names that you're going to see fresh matches up against each other. We're going to see, all these, we saw Liv Morgan face off against all these people, Gunther, first time on Raw. So, you see all these fresh matches, and with such a smaller roster now with all these cuts, you need that. But also, I always think of it from a in-person perspective as well. When you see someone from SmackDown coming on Raw and that they're a SmackDown exclusive guy, if you're in the crowd for that, that's a pretty big, like, you don't think of it, but like it's a pretty big thing. I was at Raw the night after Survivor Series, and Sami Zayn randomly appeared, and I was so happy because Sami Zayn's like one of my guys. The fact that he was on SmackDown and he randomly shows up on Raw, and we got a match with him that night. I was like, fucking, this is amazing. I'm so happy that Sami Zayn's on Raw right now. So this could result in, you know, a lot better, you know, shows, match quality, stories. You know, I think it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, I think you'll still have that exclusivity. Like, I think they'll still have their exclusive stars, and like you said, just having that, like, that random exclusive person show up on another show to do something. I think that's where they'll still keep that. I don't think it'll be as prominent as they have been with the draft and all that stuff. I think what they're gonna do is with kind of like what they're doing with like Liv Morgan right now is you win that title, you're on that show now, and that's how how it'll be. Unless, like, you know, unless a storyline happens where, you know, someone kind of follows that person over there and, you know, they're in a storyline. But I think the titles are going to dictate who's on what show.
Yeah, for sure.
So if someone from like SmackDown comes over and challenges Bobby Lashley and wins the U.S. Championship, now they're on there, and then Bobby Lashley heads over to SmackDown, and now he challenges whoever for, you know, the Intercontinental or wherever they put him. I think you'll see it that way more than anything. Not so much like a big to-do.
I think you're going to see them popping up on each other's shows a lot more often. I also think something they said the other day made me believe that we might even be close to a unification of the women's championship. And I forgot who said it, but I'm like, that kind of sounded like that could be. I think it was when they were in the ring together. So, like, you never know. I wouldn't mind them combining that title.
Well, the only thing that kind of is Survivor Series, if they're going to keep that, like, you know, brand versus champion thing going.
Yeah,
we really can't.
Well, this will be great for Survivor Series then, because we can get back to more of a traditional 5-on-5. You know, not doing the whole champion versus champion.
Felt forced in those championship versus championship non-title matches. It kind of made it like, who cares? It's non-title matches. Like, they were good matches. You know, we got some good matches out of it. We saw, was it Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar? That was a great match. But like now you can do something that makes sense storyline wise and not just be forced to do that.
I don't want Survivor Series to turn into like, oh, it's the time of the year where Raw and SmackDown go up against each other. Because even like, you know, in recent years, I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but like in recent years, they've modeled the champions to make sure that they have good matches. Like, we were about to get Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar until a random title change made AJ Styles the champion. So like, if that's your level of storytelling for Survivor Series, I am very happy that we are straying away from Raw versus SmackDown. But although I would love to see Jinder versus Brock in the future, but that's for another story. I
do want to see Gunther and Bobby Lashley though.
Oh, that'll be such a good match. That is the one match I do want to see, Gunther and Bobby Lashley.
You might see Liv. You might get that Charlotte and Bianca too, if Charlotte does have the title at that time.
A lot of good matches you can see there. A lot of good matches. But yeah, that was the little brand split rant there, because it is finally time to wrap up today's show, and that's the only way that we know how, and that is by answering the age-old question.
Who won the week?
Who won the week? Was it Raw or was it SmackDown? Marco, I'm going to let you decide first.
I'm going to go Raw. I'll go Raw. They had some banger matches on last night. They had, we didn't talk about this. Asuka and Becky pulled out another awesome main event. And another person we talked about earlier in the night, Seth Rollins, who can make anyone look good.
Ezekiel.
That match was probably match of the night for me. Him and Ezekiel. Like, that match was phenomenal. Like, Seth Rollins can do no wrong, dude. That dude's on fire. And then you obviously had, well, we won't talk about the Judgment Day match and all that stuff, but you got to see like the feel good moments with Liv and, you know, her and Bianca and all that stuff. So
that was
I'm gonna give it to Raw.
All right.
Yeah.
Tom, what are you going with?
I'm not allowed to say Money in the Bank, right?
No, you're not allowed to say Money in the Bank.
All right, I'll go Raw too then.
I'll also go with Raw. Let me just say, SmackDown, the booking on SmackDown these last few weeks have been off. Not even
Yeah.
awful. It's just not made sense. This week, or this last week rather, a good old-fashioned battle royal, which leads
Yep.
to nothing.
Yep.
And then you have a match afterwards to randomly crown Madcap Moss as the next member of Money in the Bank. Meanwhile, Baron Corbin won a battle royal, eliminated some of the members of the Money in the Bank.
Yep.
But here we are, and he's not even in the Money in the Bank.
Great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stupid. They also did something. Oh, and the 2 weeks ago when they had Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and they were taken out of the Money in the Bank, and they needed to coexist in the tag team match, and then they were added back in. SmackDown's been booked so stupid lately. I really hope we're getting Roman on this coming episode of SmackDown. Hopefully, these next few weeks we'll at least get some good material with Brock and Roman. And hopefully, all things considered, we'll get a good build to SummerSlam. But that will be time will tell. Time will tell, as most things in WWE. But ladies and gentlemen,
Hey, yo.
it's time to end the show. Folks, thank you so much for listening and watching, or both, to the Raw Down podcast. Tom, get your shit in. Where can we find you?
You'll find me all over the tavern on Mondays, on the debate show, on Tuesdays, on Fig Night, and then I get to be the Raw Down champion at 10 p.m. On Wednesdays, the wrap-up show, and on Fridays, me and Mike Bellcaster, Turnbuckle Sessions. Don't miss it. This week, we're going to be discussing Ric Flair. The episode will be titled "The Goat." So,
Ooh.
and just a quick note: if you are a wrestling figure fan and you don't check out Fig Night, you might want to check it out next week. We have a huge guest. I know young Anthony knows who it is. Do you know who it is, Marco?
I do not know who it is.
You ready for this? We got Jeremy Padour joining us on Fig Night next week.
Whoa.
Big name.
Huge.
Yes,
Huge.
can't wait for that one. So next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, check it out.
Good stuff there. Marco, where can we find the Chick Foley show? What are you guys doing?
I don't know if I could follow that up. That's pretty huge news right there.
It's Tom. You can
no,
follow
but,
him up anytime. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we will be recording our brand new episode tomorrow night, so look out for that. Obviously, we'll be talking about some Money in the Bank stuff. We'll probably dip into a little bit of AEW because I think we're going to be recording after it. So we'll talk about that night's festivities. I'm assuming anyway, and then obviously all the figure news and whatever else comes to our pretty little minds. You can definitely follow me on the Twitter machine at Chick Foley Show. You can follow Sheena at Chick Foley on IG. You can follow me as well at the MVP Marco, chickfoleyshow.com. Sign up to our Facebook group. SDCC's coming up. So there's going to be a lot of figure reveals, a lot of new stuff. A lot of stuff that was announced last year is going to start popping up in stores. So you definitely want to, hop into the group and, have an extra set of eyes to look for some figures that are coming out that aren't on certain websites and stuff like that. Some stuff in the wild, as we like to say. So definitely check that out. And obviously Pod Foundation as well on IG. Get all the news. Obviously Pod Foundation consists of Turnbuckle Tavern, the Chick Foley Show, Coming Down the Aisle, and the Extra Cooler Show. So definitely check that out for all the news and updates surrounding Pod Foundation.
A lot of good stuff happening in the Pod Foundation. You can also follow the Indie Epicenter, Independent Epicenter, on Instagram and Twitter at Indie Epicenter. Invictus Pro Wrestling just announced a few more shows in August and in September. They are booling out. They announced one of their matches tonight, which I have not yet seen yet, but apparently it's a big match, so I cannot wait to check that one out. If you haven't followed Invictus already, please go do so. They're doing some phenomenal work. But got a lot of stuff happening with the Indie Epicenter very soon coming to your interwebs, so stay tuned for it. And of course, he's not here tonight, but we have to plug him, comingdowntheaislepod.com for all of your J-Bone needs. He's got all these amazing videos and podcast episodes. He's got his Free the Fig. He's got his lists. He's got everything that you could want from J-Bone, and it's all that can be found at comingdowntheaislepod.com. Well, folks, it has been yet another fantastic episode of the Raw Down. If you like what you heard, and I know that you did, please make sure to support the Turnbuckle Tavern in any way that you can. Of course, all of those ways can be found at theturnbuckletavern.com. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow us on TikTok. Join the Discord. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you can get our merch. If we're talking about merch, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/tavern to get all of your exclusive, beautifully designed t-shirts for the Raw Down and all of the Turnbuckle Tavern shows. You can also go to Teespring for some of the shirts that you couldn't find on Pro Wrestling Tees, with a mixture of stickers and mugs and everything under the sun. And finally, you can follow us, but not only just follow us, you can go above and beyond. You can be a part of the tavern. You can call the tavern. 304-404-2004. That's the number to hear your message played on the flagship show. Call the tavern, leave us a voicemail, get your voice heard. Get your voice in my ears, because I want to hear what you have to say, especially those messages about the Raw Down, because we play them here too. We hear everything that you say about us there on the Raw Down with the, your what was the last one about witchcraft and the Dr. Coke or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was witchcraft. We weren't knowledgeable enough in it.
Whatever. 304-404-2004. That's the number to call. Once again, that's 304-404-2004. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Raw Down. We will see you right here next week. Same time, same place, hopefully without Tom, but he'll be here, unfortunately.
Oh, you put that stipulation. If I don't show up, I have to vacate my title.
Well, you got another stipulation you got to worry about too. You got that briefcase that J-Bone's holding. Who knows when J-Bone's going to be back to cash in that briefcase?
Boney in the Bank. That's probably going to be his name next week. Yeah.
Boney.
That's probably going to be his name next week.
Probably.
I'm assuming.
Well, folks, thank you for. What were you going to say, Tom? Go ahead.
The fix is in.
The fix is in. Sure. That's the perks of being a champion. You got to defend your title.
Me and Anthony want J-Bone to win the title. That's exactly what we want.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Totally not Marco, who hasn't been champion yet.
Yeah. I so want him to win.
Right.
You hear the excitement in my voice?
J-Bone might jump over to the run-in pod or something. Maybe he's going to switch brands.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Folks, thank you for watching the Raw Down. We will see you here next week, but until then, take care, spike your hair, woo, woo, woo. You know it. I hate you all.